Hi everybody, I'm Peter Travers and this is Popcorn, where we tell you what is happening at the movies, and there's a movie now that you need to see, well, not right now, after this show. And it's called Little Women, and I know it's been done, like this is the 8th time, but maybe. Florence Pugh is here playing Amy in this movie and being brilliant in it.
Thank you.
And I've always hated Amy.
Yeah, everyone said that.
Everyone's hated her.
Yeah, when I got the job, I remember telling my mates and they were like, oh, you play the one that I hate.
Yeah.
I was like, well...
That burned the book.
Yeah, burned the book and ends up with the guy that no one feels like she should.
And yet, all that happens, and we love you.
Thank you.
What did you do? What was...
I don't know. What did I do? Well, obviously a lot of it is Greta. When I first met her, I remember her giving me this whole speech about how she wanted Amy to be more than that, and she feels like Amy's been misunderstood and she hasn't had her moment to explain herself, and essentially she just pulled all the things from the book.
Sounds like Greta had some Amy in her, maybe.
It sounds like Greta is trying to be as true to the book as possible. I think that's what it is. And you know, it's so easy to love Jo because she represents everything that we want to be as people. She's headstrong, stubborn. Yeah. She earns her own money. She's the first woman to kind of do that successfully. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very easy to feel like you want to be a bit of Jo, but I feel like in our version we're maybe allowing Amy to have some fans too. Finally.
Well, tell for those people that have never read Little Women and know nothing about it. It seems really impossible to believe that. Who Amy actually is.
The one thing that people hate her for is that she's ambitious and she knows that she will marry rich. I think what Greta has done in our version is she's allowed Amy to explain why, which I think is something that has never really been done before. And she seems, I feel like well, from what everybody is telling me, is that she seems like the person that no one wants to be, and yet she still ends up with the great guy. And I think in this version, she has drive, she has ambition, she's creative, she wants to be an artist, she goes and studies painting. And I think there's this wonderful moment in her life where she realizes that she's not amazing, she's good. And so she has to lay down her craft to essentially do what she knows she's always had to do. And I think we forget that women in that era, they didn't have a lot of choices. They didn't own anything. They didn't own their kids. They didn't own money if they got married to someone. And really, for a woman, the most realistic thing that you can do and that you can have a successful and enjoyable life is to marry someone rich. And in this version, Amy does exactly that, and she explains why she needs to do that.
And that's such a perfect cue to look at a clip from Little Women.
It's almost like you've done this before.
Come prepared. You know, you just know what's here. So can you just go, yes, make it happen, people. Let's see that clip. We must see. Oh, look at that.
I've always known I would marry rich. Why should I be ashamed of that?
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Not be for you, but it most certainly is for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate men. God, they're so rotten. Wow.
Cute,
just controlling everything.
Everything.
No, we don't want this. I saw an interview. It was a Skype interview when I saw the first screening of Little Women.
Yeah.
And you and Greta and Saoirse were talking about it, working with Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
And Greta said something about how maybe that speech wasn't in the script initially.
It wasn't.
That Meryl mentioned something at lunch, and then it had to go in and they just gave it to you?
Yes, so basically I feel, I didn't know this at the time, by the way, but through press, I've heard this story. When Meryl and Greta met to talk about the film, Meryl basically says, you know, no, what you understand is X, Y, and Z. And she said to Greta, you know, this is what it was like for a woman. They didn't own their own money, you know, or that whole speech. And she apparently said to Greta, you have to make the audience understand that this is what was happening.
So immediately you do.
So, so Greta then furiously noted it all down and then on the day gave it to me. There's already so much pressure acting in a Greta Gerwig film. For like in one of my biggest scenes with Timothée Chalamet, and then Greta just hands me this long speech, and I'm like, oh my God. And so I basically would go into the corner of the room and just look like a crazy lady as I go over the lines like that.
It is. Timmy just has to say, not for the poets, and you've got like 5 pages.
He just gets to sit there really leisurely.
You have to do that. But look how you pulled it off.
Fear. You can see fear in my face.
I didn't see any fear. I saw poise and confidence and control.
Oh,
so I'm assuming then you're even a more brilliant actress than I think you are. Wow. That was it.
Double playing,
Be
everyone.
composed and do it. Go. Here it is.
Here's a speech, Florence.
This movie is so good
Thank
for a
you.
lot of reasons, but also the way Greta Gerwig does allow you to be older as well, so that we see what's going on with their lives.
Yeah, totally. I
And
think
we see Amy getting all the good stuff.
We see her growing up, and we see her maturing, and we see her being opinionated. And I think also something that is so completely Greta is every single character that are in her films, they all have their own story. Even if they're in 2 or 3 scenes, they don't ever feel token. They all feel like they have a life, they have history, they have things to say. And I think Greta just did exactly that. She made a story about all these 4 sisters, and all of the things that they wanted from life, and all of the things that they couldn't have because of life. And
well, how did Greta set it up for the 4 of you to get to know each other?
Well, I actually missed the majority of rehearsals because I was...
Oh, well, I'm sure. I'm sure there was just something else going on.
Basically, I was filming Midsummer. I was running around a field with a burning temple behind me. But yeah, no, I was filming the last whole section of the film. We were filming it in the last week. And they were all in Boston rehearsing together. And I